Hello there, good morning, and thank you for joining us on Mega News Live here on MBN TV. We're also streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at MBN 360. Moving on to the major headlines.
Anti-LGBTQ plus bill still far from becoming law, President Mahama. In business, ignore reports of 20% fare hike, GPRTU and GRTCC. And on the international front, oil rises more than $6 a barrel on renewed Middle East conflict fears.
We have the details of these stories and more. My name is Najama Udute. Now the news in detail. President John Dramani Mahama has indicated that the recently passed Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025, popularly known as the Anti-LGBTQ Plus Bill, still has a long way to go before it can become law.
Speaking during a question and answer session at Chatham House in UK on Monday, June 1, President Mahama said several procedural and legal issues surrounding the bill must first be addressed before any decision is taken on presidential assent. The president noted that the legislation has attracted significant public attention because of its implications for family values and social policy in Ghana. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill has probably been the bill that has evoked the most interest in Ghana. It shows how important issues of family values are, he said. According to him, questions have already emerged regarding the manner in which the bill was passed by Parliament. He cited concerns over whether there was a quorum at the time of its passage, as well as allegations of procedural lapses during the legislative process. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage, he stated.
The only reason Ghana's in the news. it has been one.
Yeah. Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said, when I was the opposition leader, the president has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent, and so once the president gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament. And so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the president is advised to assent. The president has another option if there are some things that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the president, and so they will take a look at it, and then they will advise the president. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the president would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes law.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has summoned the leadership of the House for discussions following the passage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025, insisting that there must be consensus on the legislation to ensure its effective implementation and public acceptance.
Addressing journalists on Monday, June 1, Mr. Bagbin expressed surprise over Parliament's decision to pass the bill on Friday, noting that he had expected Parliament to commence only the consideration stage before he left the House. According to the Speaker, he noted that a wide range of stakeholders, including development partners and the United Nations, had submitted memoranda and proposals on the legislation. In fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me because I knew that they were going to start the consideration of the bill, he stated. As a result, he has invited leaders from both the majority and minority caucuses to a meeting to review the outcome of the process and determine the way forward.
And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me because I knew that they were going to start the consideration of the bill. And that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies, the one we're going to see today. And so I knew they wouldn't have completed it. But all of a sudden, I read about this passage. I reacted, and later I saw on TV all the things that happened. And so this evening, I have asked the leaders to meet me in my office. So they will be here for us to go through it. This is such a critical bill that we believe there must be consensus. But it's not about passing the bill, it's about implementing it and making sure that it benefits the people. So leaders of both sides of the house will be with me this evening for us to discuss what next after the passage of the bill. And I'm very sure that being men and women of wisdom will find a way out and to get all the Ghanaians to buy into it. We are grateful to all those who have come out with the commendation of the good work that Parliament has done.
The High Court in Nalirugu in Ghana's northeast region has issued another interim injunction stopping the New Patriotic Party (NPP) from conducting polling station executive elections in the Bunkrugu constituency.
The order, delivered on June 1, 2026, was issued by Justice Samuel Bright Aqua following a suit filed by Conlan Yenuyab and 78 other party members against the NPP and another defendant. After hearing submissions from counsel for both parties, the court ordered that the NPP, its agents, and anyone acting on its behalf must not proceed with any election-related activities in the Bunkrugu constituency until further notice. As part of its ruling, the court also directed the Constitutional Council of Elders and the Regional Council of Elders to mediate on the dispute in line with an agreement reached by counsel for the parties. The injunction follows ballot papers and voter registers being destroyed in the Bunkrugu constituency on May 10 after tensions erupted during the NPP's polling station executive elections, despite an earlier court injunction halting the exercise. The disturbances occurred after party officials allegedly proceeded with the elections, even though the High Court in Nalirugu had restrained the NPP from conducting the polls in the constituency for 10 days. The injunction followed a suit filed by Conlan Yenuyab and 16 others who challenged the process over the alleged wrongful disqualification of some aspirants and claimed breaches of the party's internal rules and principles of natural justice.
Innocence, yet they've been excluded for no reasons. I have the information from my clients that when they appeared for the settlement discussions, they were again confronted with empty petitions, unsigned petitions. They questioned who petitioned, they were never told. And this has been the issues that led to us being here. And so for those ones to still continue, it means that yes, there is definitely conception of bias. And what it means is that those who created the problems cannot solve it alone now. And so they need the intervention of the Council of Elders if they really want to deal with it internally. We are not pushing for any internal settlement. The Citadel of Justice is here to deal with our matters. If they address it well for us, no problem. Our case is that everybody should be allowed to contest. without any justification of exclusion. You don't have to exclude anybody. And that's what we maintain. From day one, we have said that this is an internal matter. So if the petitions by my clients to the constituency executives and to the regional executives were heeded through, we shouldn't have been here. You see, so once it's an internal matter, we maintain that they can solve it internally. If they treat my clients well by giving them the opportunity to contest, that's it. We are good to go. No one is interested in this whole litigation. Yes. And so we foresee that, yes, with the intervention of the Regional Council of Elders and the Constituency Council of Elders, who were not in till now, I think that we should make a headway.
We'll go for a break and be back with business. So stay with us. In the world of business, road transport operators have dismissed reports of a 20% increase in public transport fares expected to take effect on Tuesday, June 2, 2026, describing the announcement as unauthorized and not sanctioned by the appropriate bodies.
In a joint statement, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union (GPRTU) and the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council (GRTCC) said they had not engaged the Ministry of Transport in any discussions regarding a fare adjustment and therefore could not have approved such an increment. The statement, signed by GPRTU General Secretary Godfred Abubiri and GRTCC General Secretary Emmanuel Ohene-Yeboah, stressed that the reported increase did not follow the agreed procedures for reviewing transport fares, which require consultations between transport operators and government authorities. The two transport bodies consequently urged commuters and the general public to disregard the reports, insisting that existing approved fares remain in force. We therefore wish to condemn this decision in no uncertain terms and request the general public to disregard the publication by the supposed group with the contempt it deserves, the statement said. They also directed transport unions, drivers, vehicle owners, loading point managers and other stakeholders to continue charging the current fares until any official review is concluded. The operators assured passengers that any future fare adjustment would be communicated through the appropriate channels after consultations with the relevant authorities. They further reaffirmed their commitment to safeguarding the welfare of both transport operators and commuters while ensuring fairness in fare determination.
We'll go for a quick break and be back with international news. On the international front, oil prices surged by more than $6 per barrel on Monday, June 1, after reports emerged that Iran's negotiating team had halted communications with the United States and that Tehran-backed groups were considering measures to block key global shipping routes, including the Strait of Hormuz.
According to Iran's Tasnim news agency, discussions between Iran and the United States have stalled, while allied groups within the so-called resistance front are weighing actions that could disrupt maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, two of the world's most critical energy transit corridors. The latest rally comes after both benchmark contrast recorded between losses in May, with Brent and WTI declining by about 19% and 17% respectively. The monthly drop marked their biggest decline in absolute terms since March 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic severely curtailed global energy demand. Market sentiment was further shaken by renewed hostilities in the Middle East. The escalation followed recent exchanges between Iran and the United States and Israel's decision to deploy additional troops into Lebanon amid its ongoing conflict with Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group. The renewed fighting has also dimmed hopes for a diplomatic breakthrough between Washington and Tehran. Expectations had been growing that the two sides could extend a ceasefire arrangement announced earlier this year, particularly after the United States hosted Israel-Lebanon peace talks on Friday. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he would soon decide on a proposed extension of the ceasefire. However, Iran has maintained that any agreement must include both Hezbollah and Lebanon, while Washington has reportedly proposed a gradual de-escalation framework. Analysts say concerns over the security of the Strait of Hormuz, a virtual route for global oil and gas shipments, are driving the latest price gains. IG market analyst Tony Skymore noted that even a diplomatic agreement is reached, it is unlikely to result in a significant increase in oil supply. Reports have also emerged suggesting that Iran may have increased the deployment of naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, adding to concerns about potential disruptions to global energy markets. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai attributed delays in diplomatic efforts to a lack of trust between the parties, conflicting positions from Washington, and continued Israeli military actions in Lebanon, despite signs of weakening demand from China, where recent economic data pointed to slowing factory activity. Supply concerns continued to dominate market sentiment. Additional support for oil prices came from expectations that Saudi Arabia could lower its official selling prices for crude exports to Asia in July for a second consecutive month, while Russia is reportedly considering tighter controls on fuel exports to safeguard domestic supplies. Looking ahead, analysts at Goldman Sachs warn that weak oil demand in China and Europe poses a downside risk to crude prices later in the year. However, they noted that any further escalation in the Middle East could continue to support higher prices by threatening global supply flows.
This brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, let's do a recap of the major headlines.
Anti-LGBTQ plus bill still far from becoming law, President Mahama. In business, ignore reports of 20% fare hike, GPRTU and GRTCC. And on the international front, oil rises more than $6 a barrel on renewed Middle East conflict fears.
Sports with El Samuels is up next. I am Naja Maldute. Thanks for staying with us and have a good morning.